So many Gokus, so few muffins. Hey guys, MasakoX here. With the 9th of May now behind us, otherwise known as Goku Day in Japan, or Piccolo Day for some of you out there, I mean I've got to acknowledge that of course, Haverock and I got to thinking about Goku as a character. Now, naturally, I like Goku, seeing as I have actually voiced him in some capacity for about over a decade now. You tend to gain some kind of an affinity for the character when you do that, even if it is for the purposes of a parody. As a result, Haverock and I got together and thought about which iteration of Goku's persona / transformation was the best combination over the show's 30 plus years. Now, I think that we can agree that none of the main casters had as many variations of their overall personality created for them than Son Goku had. He's been blessed with many. We have actually counted 14 combinations that were worth talking about. We've decided to rate these different forms and or life stages of our favourite monkey man. We will focus not only on the power and the fighting techniques, but also on their behaviour. Because one of the biggest things that changes between all of these different iterations of Goku is how he acts. Some are not much different to his usual guys, and others are much more pronounced and unusual. And be warned though, as we've mentioned, there is a lot to get through. Now first off we have Super Adult Goku. Let's start off with the current base form variant, Dragonball Super's Goku. He has his moment, sure, but in general, we feel that he's regressed just a little bit from the Buu Saga counterpart. His sillier traits are often exaggerated only to serve on a comedic level, and plot points that suit a goofier subtext. He's at his best though in Battle of Gods and the Broly movie, but still, he's far from our favourite incarnation of this character that we have come across. The fact that to many people, Goku fans included, the scene where Broly does his puny god moment on Goku felt cathartic, it speaks for itself. Why were we siding with Broly? Because he was the more interesting character at the time. We just feel that a middle-aged Goku should show his more playful nature in a different way, and start to act more like his many masters. Oh well, let's hope that the future holds something nice for him, as that last scene of the Broly movie got us pumped. My rating for Super Adult Goku, 3 out of 5 muffins, and Haverock's rating, 2 out of 5 Bora points. Then there's Ultra Instinct Goku. Kachidaze. Yeah, we went there right away. Are you really surprised? Boy, his form. Well, 2 forms if you want to be particular, but we treat it as one for this list. Surely made an impact when it landed in what is arguably the best Tournament of Power episode, and we can see why. Goku is quiet, almost drowned in the form, and has some really cool visuals to accompany his actions. Sadly, the second time he achieved this form cheapened it a little bit, but still gave us some spectacular visuals. What also feels nice is the fact that we've been teased with this form before, and it gives Super and Dragon Ball a nice sense of continuity. But Ultra Instinct is not perfect, as several elements of this form were supposed to be previously connected to others. Ultimate Gohan, anyone? But having said that, the presentation has never been so flashy, and we think that this flashiness makes it a pretty interesting incarnation of the character. And also, the whole cultural background and connection to Mushin makes our inner cultural geeks feel really happy. And if there is one element of the Tournament of Power that feels really good, it's Ultra Instinct. Check out our Ultra Instinct Color Theory video for some more background about the art of Mushin and where Ultra Instinct falls in our theory. My rating, 4.5 out of 5 muffins, and Haverock's 4.5 out of 5 Bora points. Pretty much tied. Okay, then we have Super Saiyan Blue Goku. If you've been frequenting this channel for a while now, you probably know that we aren't exactly the biggest fans of this form, or at least its initial forays. Don't get us wrong, that transformation scene in the Broly movie to go Super Saiyan Blue was pretty awesome, and was how the form should have been introduced, but we think it was way too little and way too late to forgive its earlier foibles. There is just nothing interesting in how Goku behaves, being a simple palette swap to regular Super Saiyan, which is pretty sad, as this is supposedly the tranquil Super Saiyan God form. But instead, our heroes behave as they normally do in Super Saiyan. He just hits harder. It's such a shame, because this transformation could have been so much more. And truth be told, it's not even a very nice shade of blue. Super Vegeta Blue rocks it better in my opinion. And it's still a pretty silly form, but big meh. My rating, 2.5 out of 5 muffins. And Haverox, only 1.5 Bora points. Then we have Super Saiyan God Goku. So, as much as we feel kinda unfazed by blue, we really like the classic Super Saiyan God. It's just cool, you know? And to be fair, this was the first new Super Saiyan transformation that we had seen in nearly 2 decades, and it was in such a different direction to what we're usually expecting. The look and feel was just very interesting. The method of obtaining it was pretty unique too, as well as Goku's reaction to this unearned power. It just was refreshing, and it's nice to see a leaner, more graceful Saiyan form for a change. It's surprising that we had to wait for a second appearance of this form for so long. We only got this in the Tournament of Power. I mean, that is at least in the anime, but it's still really, really cool. Maybe the fact that it was used more sparingly makes it more special? Hard to say for sure, but there is something to that form that just screams out awesome. My rating, 4 muffins. And Haverox, 5 out of 5 Bora points. Woo, perfect score. Then we have Goku Black. But Masako, this isn't even Goku. This is a wholly different character. You're cheating, Masako. Unsubscribe. Yeah, okay, you got us, but still. This character is brought to life by Masako Nozawa and Sean Schemmel and uses a lot of Goku trademarks. So we decided to add him here, and you know, we've been super, pun not intended, harsh on Zamasu and Goku Black at times throughout their existence, but in perspective, they're kind of growing on us. Technically, Goku's mind is not present, although you can argue it wasn't really there to begin with, but the stance and presence feels so unusual. Probably the best idea of coming up with a truly evil Goku going. Goku Black had a great entrance and was genuinely terrifying. He just had the misfortune of being put in an overtly convoluted plotline with a very weird ending. Now our buddy, Totally Not Mark, has even recently made a video elaborating on it. Check it out. We believe that they could make more with this character and make Goku's nature make him more conflicted, than just not wishing for immortality. Perhaps the short time we had then makes Goku Black all the more iconic as time goes by. My rating, 4.5 muffins. Haverox, 3.5 Bora points. Going off the back of body swaps, we then have Ginyu Goku. And yes, I thought I'd include this one too, because people would mention it if I didn't. Sort of the same deal as Goku Black really, only for a much shorter period and much, much less nuanced. Put simply, this Goku had Ginyu's mind, and voice apparently. I don't think that's how vocal cords work. It was still pretty chilling to see Goku's body act that way towards his friend and be wearing that scouter. What might have happened had Goku chosen to go with his brother Raditz and embrace his Saiyan penchant for evil doings? My rating, 3 out of 5 muffins. Haverox, also 3 Bora points. Then we have GT Kid Goku. Even back when we were kids, the idea felt weird of having Goku revert back to his childish form, and reading a lot of opinions and thoughts all across the internet over the years, we think that the large portion of the community feels the same way. Why are they trying to strong-arm Goku into the plot? It just doesn't work. GT Kid Goku doesn't have the charm and simplicity of the original Kid Goku, and yet he feels almost as silly as Super's Goku. When he tries to be serious, like the early Z Goku, it just comes across as weird. An adult's words coming from a kid doesn't have the same impact, does it? This Goku is a weird hybrid that should never have left the mad scientist's lab. But when we get to the next Goku, it does have one redeeming quality. My rating, 2 muffins. Haverox, only 1.5 Bora points. And that form is of course Super Saiyan 4 Goku. You all knew that this would be here. It had to be. Whereas many times that GT missed the mark, this form is a bullseye, and something truly accepted by the fandom at large. It just looks cool. Skillfully connecting Goku's Saiyan biology and existing lore to this primal looking form. It just looks different, it ups the scale, and feels quite spectacular. And I know that not everyone is a fan of the whole fur thing. Yeah, I get that, as it doesn't follow the traditional Super Saiyan aesthetics and progression. But we feel that it does work pretty well with the Great Ape mythology. Now when we think about GT, we think about this form. It's the first thing that pops to mind, which isn't a bad legacy. Granted that this and the ending might be the biggest saving graces and the only saving graces of GT, but still, credit where credit's due. Well done Mr. Nakatsuru for designing this. My rating, 4 muffins, and Haverox, 4.5 Bora points. Then there's Dragon Ball Teen Goku slash DBZ Adult Goku. Oh boy, this one is tricky, as we have seen him evolve for a pretty long time. But he starts out as a pretty good balance of fun and serious. During this period, he also gets his unique traits, such as sparing his villains so as to help them reform themselves, and yet retains his sense of morality. He can be silly and absent-minded at times, but never to the point of the Super Incarnation. It just reaches a certain point, and during the Frieza saga, he is largely in denial of his Saiyan nature, but in the end, he does accept his legacy and avenges his entire race without even trying. In the Cell saga, he resorts to self-sacrifice and finally accepts that Gohan is a separate being from himself and has his own wants and needs. The Buu saga, though, is where things get a little on the weird side. On one hand, training the other world could understandably change anyone's perception of the mortal world, but he largely denies a lot of what he actually achieved in the previous sagas. He is still ready to defend innocence and lives up to the task. So yeah, he's not flawless, but far away from bad. My rating, 3.5 muffins, and HaveRox, also 3.5 Bora points. Next, Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Sometimes it's hard to say whether this form was designed to be a serious one, or if it was something that Toriyama came up with to poke fun at himself and the fans, as it kind of feels too much of the Super Saiyan juice was imbibed. With a scream that helps you to ascend to cowboy heaven and a very distinct look, it surely made a memorable first impression, and nothing more really. It has a lot of drawbacks. It doesn't really achieve much. It's pretty marketable though. It helped me get a foothold with the old YouTube algorithm back in the day, remember? Yeah, that video? But that Goku doesn't really leave a lasting impression. Still, the Buu saga introduced many gimmick forms and transformations, which may have today a cult following, but in the grand scheme of things, they were completely obsolete. Sorry Super Saiyan 3 Goku, we could have done without you, quite frankly. My rating, 2.5 muffins, and HaveRox, 2 out of 5 Bora points. Then Super Saiyan 2. We don't see Super Saiyan 2 Goku often that much, really. Maybe a little more in Super. And it's mostly down to the fact, I think, that it was Gohan who had unlocked it. It was kind of his thing in a way, and so Goku doesn't make that much of a song and dance about it. Also, many editions and tomes of Dragon Ball have kind of forgotten about this form and don't really acknowledge it as something new. Even Toriyama forgot about it at one point. Now, that's not fair in my opinion, because from my point of view, I love it. It's the perfect Super Saiyan form. Speedy, powerful, and easy to master. Vegeta got it down the best out of anyone, because he didn't want Super Saiyan 3. Just plow everything into Super Saiyan 2. When we first saw Goku using it, it wasn't really celebrated. Come to think about it, this was like the OG Super Saiyan Blue moment, in terms of its introduction. Yes, it's the best and most useful form out there, but it's not the most spectacular aside from Gohan's transformation, of course. That's HaveRox's opinion. I, for one, adore it. My rating is a straight up 5 out of 5 muffins, but HaveRox, ooh, a bone of contention, 2.5. Now, needless to say, the classic Super Saiyan is a game changer. It's the moment in the series when we realize that the stakes have become much higher and Goku's heritage is really apparent. It's the moment when our tame hero becomes much tougher and ascends to a whole new reality. This form is by far the most impactful one, and we really don't want to repeat this again so soon after the last time that we said this, but for what it meant for pop culture and Dragon Ball after this, it's just important and iconic and, quite frankly, historic. Of course, there are also all the grade forms and mastered elements out there, but they are all parts of the same thing, the true original version of Son Goku. This is the Goku to many of us, and we can see why. Well, I think it's quite obvious both of us give it 5 out of 5. Our penultimate one, Kid Goku. Depending on where you live, this could be your first introduction to Goku, or something that you've seen after watching Z. This Goku represents playfulness and simplicity in a world that was much simpler. He's not only a martial artist, but also an adventurer. He's also the most endearing, as we are willing to forgive him more in this state. He never feels selfish or inconsiderate of others. That little cute, pure-hearted cinnamon bun paved the way for Dragon Ball to be what it is today, for better or for worse. Still, I think we can all agree that this is classic and deserves recognition, much as Super Saiyan Goku does. My rating, 4.5 out of 5 muffins, and HaveRox, perfect 5. Lastly, Goku trained by the Grand Priest. Goku being trained by the Grand Priest? Who could have thought of such a thing?
This up until he actually starts training with Whis. When he does so, he gets a new gi. That is because by the end of Z, Goku might have achieved a level of power that even eclipses Whis. It resulted in the Grand Priest taking Goku on as his pupil.
Granted that it's the element of a side series, but still, we cannot deny that it feels weirdly familiar and rocks these robes pretty well. This is a plot point that, in a less simplified way, we could see someday in the main storyline, as it feels like Ultra Instinct on steroids. And in this case, I think we won't mind. R rating? 5 conspiracy cats out of 5. Now, we don't claim that we've looked through every single Goku out there. You know, it's just too much to go through. But I think that we've covered the most important ones. And as always, these are just our opinions, sometimes connected to the way that the community at large feels at the moment, and you are of course free to think differently. And we'd love to hear what you think and which is your favorite Goku in the comments down below. So what do you guys think? Are you gonna leave down things in the comments about what you think of Goku? Let's get this discussion going, and I shall see you in the next video. Catch you later!